Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, dear audience. Good afternoon, Belinda.
Hello. Hello, Khadija. How are you?
All right, and you?
I'm good, I think.
I welcome you all to our second episode of the African Network for Sustainable Development Africa Shining program, Africans Inspiring Africans. Today's special guest is Ms Berlinda Bulley. So let me introduce you to her or to you all. Introduce her to you all. So Berlinda, Berlinda has been involved in politics at different levels since 2007. Her involvement has been driven by her desire to ensure justice, equity, integrity in public service and civic responsibility. In 2012, Berlinda, in collaboration with some like-minded Ghanaian, founded the Progressive People's Party, which is called PPP in Ghana, as a credible alternative to the duopoly in Ghana. She was the National Women's Coordinator and currently is the second National Vice Chairperson. During the 2016 election, she coordinated the campaign of the running mate of the party. So the PPP has, since its formation, contested the national elections twice in Ghana and has been making progress. So Berlinda holds a Master of Philosophy in African Studies and a bachelor degree in Political Science and Psychology from the University of Ghana. In addition to politics, she has over 10 years combined experience in project management, clientele management, business development, establishment, and maintenance of strategic partnership with both local and international organizations and human resource management gain in Ghana and in the UK. So just to put everybody in the picture, Belinda, if you might allow me, I want to tell people where I met you. I first met you, so
Yes, you should.
Don't mind.
You should.
So I first met Belinda in London, UK in March 2015, when we were invited as international diplomats amongst other participants from many parts of the world, as being politically active in our countries, to attend the Liberal Democrats electoral campaign during the legislative election in 2015 in the UK. So we worked as volunteers during this electoral campaign, calling potential voters, doing letter deliveries, canvassing, printing leaflets and design, attending rallies, training in candidates' office, and so on. So do you still remember that, Belinda? It was an
Yes,
amazing...
I do. I actually do.
It was an
we had a nice time over there.
Yeah, it was an amazing and different experience to our respective countries' electoral campaign.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. So today we will be talking with Berlinda about women advancement in Ghana towards gender equality. Also, we'll touch a little bit shortly about Morocco and Ghana bilateral relations. So before we start, dear audience, if any one of you have a question or want to raise a comment, could you please put it in the field of the comment field in Facebook? So we will try to address them before the end of the talk if we really have time at the end of the chat. So here we go. Thank you so much, Berlinda, for accepting my invitation, our invitation, and it's great having you with us today.
It's also great. Thank you for the invitation. You know, we are in this together, so we soldier on, as I like to say.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. So please, Berlinda, could you please introduce yourself to everyone?
In fact, Khadija did a very good job introducing me, but I think it's good that I also say who I am. I'm Berlinda Bulley. I'm Ghanaian. I live in Ghana. I've been around a couple of places. I've been involved in politics. I've been a banker. I'm involved in project management, civic responsibility, advocacy. And I'm somebody who is passionate, you understand, of equity, making sure that things are done right. So in short, I'll say Belinda is, this is Belinda. Khadija did a good job, so I don't want to repeat myself over and over again.
You did great as well. So I know, Belinda, that you have just returned to Ghana after living in the UK for a couple of years, I think from 2018 to 2020. I'm not sure about the dates yet, but
yeah.
How was your life in London? So can you tell us about the integration, even if it was just a short period? And how was the Ghanaian diaspora living in the communities in London?
Well, indeed, it was a short one. I had lived in the UK before when I finished my first degree. It was also for a short period, so it wasn't like a different terrain for me in terms of living there, if you know what I mean. But it was interesting. The Ghanaian society, if you're in the UK, you know that they've created. First of all, I was in London, and London is always like a multicultural center. So you find people from different countries creating a community within London. So the Ghanaians have done similarly. There's a Ghanaian group. There's actually an area, different areas in the UK where you go there, you think you're in Ghana because there's so many Ghanaians living over there. They like the same things we like. They are always following the news. They're eating normal food. I mean, I was eating a lot of potatoes, but I mean, if you know what I mean, you still have access to Ghanaian dishes. There are radio stations, there are TV contents, and so it was sometimes it feels like you're actually back home because you're within the community. And apart from having like a grand Ghanaian society, even amongst the Ghanaians, there are like I'm a Gan, okay, and my ethnic group is Gan. So there's a group for Gans, there's a group for Asantis and the Eves and the Mampusi, and then they link together to try and see how they can help each other within the community. So it was quite interesting. Also trying to navigate or sell products or services, which was mixed up with for the Ghanaian community within the UK environment. You understand? So I'll say it was interesting. It's always different dimensions, but it was a pretty interesting experience.
Oh, that's very good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So I know, Belinda, that you were working for a group called Group Duum UK in London.
Yes.
You were in charge of promotion and publicity. I know that that group is a multinational family holding business of Ghanaian and American origin, comprising of over 60 independent companies in Ghana, I think Togo, Liberia, Ivory Coast, USA, and UK, and across several industries such as like tourism, I think investment advisory and management, financial services, technology, media, management, consulting, cross-border trade and sport industry, and so on. So many sectors. So just want you, please, you can shed some light for our audience on what sector you were working on and what services and products you were offering to Ghanaian diaspora in the UK and even abroad.
Okay, so I actually said the group Indom. It's called Group Indom. So that's Group Indom is in Ghana, it's in Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, the UK, and the USA. What we do is the companies are independent, but they try and see how they can help each other grow in different countries. And so for the UK, Group Indom had 3 companies. There was a radio station, there was a TV station, and then we're piloting a payment system. And so in charge of promotions, I was in charge of making sure that we are known, you understand, the services are known, the products are known, people get to understand our purpose over there, and they embrace the companies. And so we ran a successful pilot program. We want to create a payment system which will compete with the big brands, if you know, something African, not only for Africans, but something that African that will compete on the market. And so that was what the whole purpose was, to run through the pilot program to make sure to find out what needs to be done, the nitty-gritty, what needs to be tied, and what measures to put in place. And so I'll say that is we were successful at that. So that's actually, there's phase 2 of it to make sure that it really runs properly. The TV station, which is GNTV, is on Sky Channel 186, and you can always go over there for content, not only within the Ghanaian community, but then in Africa. That's what the purpose. And then there's a radio station over there, also making sure that we are bridging the gap between the Ghanaian diaspora and the Ghanaian country. But recently, the radio is going through a phase where they want to make sure that it's not just bridging the gap between Ghana and the Ghanaian community, but Africa with the African community over there. And so those are the things that we're doing. They're going well, and I'm sure soon they'll probably be interviewing you on one of those days.
Oh, really? We'll swap next time.
I know.
I'll be so delighted to be there with you. That's great. Oh, you seem so amazing now. So, and And prior to being in the UK, what were you doing in Ghana?
Okay, prior to being in the UK, I was I was actually with the group in Ghana. I was with the bank, and so I was GN Bank. GN Bank was a big bank with over about 300 locations spread across the country in the remotest of areas. And I was in charge of the strategic partnerships of the bank. So there are some companies, some multinational companies, some private entities who want banking services for some of their projects. And so I was supervising some of them. And the latest project I worked on, which was dear to me, was we did, it was on financial inclusion, and it was targeted at women in the micro sector up north in Ghana. And so that was the project that I was really happy about. It was from the SATF. SATF is a consultancy company in the UK. And the project was for MasterCard Foundation. And so it was a connection between the three of us to make three companies, to make sure that bring financial inclusion. And because GN Bank was already doing something similar, it was quite easy. So yeah, that was what I was doing in Ghana before. So I've always been involved in business development, trying to get something on the market, trying to see something work, and it works well. It went well, I would say.
So was it like open as many bank accounts for women or something like that? Was it? Yeah.
Yes. So what we did was to make sure that, first of all, those who were not, because they had something like an informal banking system, so we wanted to bring them onto the formalized structures. And so that opportunity was over there. We developed products that was tailor-made for them to make sure that was beneficial, a savings product with higher interest rates than the normal one, to make sure that, to encourage them to be contributing towards their savings. And then also, even there was a pension element of it, to make sure that they are in the process and making sure that they are benefiting from everything. So that's really what happened. And I'll say it went well. The women were very happy with what we did. And I was so happy with that project, to be honest with you, because it was a pilot project, but we did it successfully. It went well.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So So how did you manage to juggle between your professional life in London and your political commitment in Ghana, because you were living in sometimes in London and coming back to Ghana? Were you traveling back and forth each time your presence is needed in Ghana, or because you are an active member of your political party? I'm really interested in this part.
Well, you see, what happened was how do I put it? I was coming home. It was 2018, so it was not it was not an election year. The political parties get extra busy when it's an election year. But then there are always activities that's ongoing. Then it's not as hectic as it was during the election year. And then also, I was coming home a lot, actually. The company allowed me to come home a lot. And so whenever there was something that I needed to be part of, I was. But the truth is, I was within a team, okay? The party is, the structure is, the leadership is well connected. We support each other. And so it was manageable. It was really manageable. There were very strong women over there who could do whatever needed to be done. There were the men that were ready to support the men all the time. And so it wasn't as hectic as you would imagine. Also because it wasn't election year, perhaps. So it went well.
I'm so glad to see you guys working in harmony. So it's great. Yeah. I'm so proud of you as you are co-founder of the Progressive People's Party. So could you please shed some light for our audience on how this adventure started in 2012? What was the context on this party was created and the circumstances?
Well, you see, in Ghana, we on record we practice a multi-party democracy. But since the Fourth Republic, we've only had two parties who have won elections. The results also, because of that, sometimes you would think, it's not you would think, it actually pictures a duopoly. But then there's always a cry from the Ghanaian public for a third force, for another party, an alternative, apart from the two which they are, or who are big, or the two which have won elections. And so it was the formation of the PPP was almost like a response to a cry. Okay, so what we did was there were different people some of them were political, from different political parties. Others were actually had not even been involved in politics before. But then they were concerned about the progress of the nation. concerned about the development, were concerned about everything. So it was always like, responding to a certain cry, having the same mission and making sure that we consolidate, we come together, we collaborate to make sure that something comes out well. So that was really the birth of the PPP. It was a response to a call that they wanted an alternative. Yes.
Good. I see that you have taken many decision-making positions within your party. You started as the National Women Coordinator. So could you please tell us a bit about this experience?
Oh, it was actually, I would say, it was interesting. I'll say, I had the opportunity to liaise with different women from all over the country. As much as I've always known that you can't assume to know everybody's challenges, they are, what they want, their needs. It actually opened my eyes because it really confirmed that as much as we are women, we are different. And our needs are different and our wants are different. So, and how to even, liaise with each other, how to talk to each other, what is accepted in the community, what is not accepted in the community. It was an eye-opener. I got opportunity to travel around the country and, come into cultures that hitherto I probably would have just read in my reading books. But then I had the opportunity to go through it. It was also, to be honest, the men within the party was supportive, okay? And so they will encourage you, they will urge you, and when they find how to even recruit women into the party and all that. And so it was challenging sometimes because we were like a small party and we were new, trying to get the membership of women on board. But then the moment you are aware of your situation, that look, this is where you are, this is the challenge, and these are the difficulties, it prepares you to know what strategies to put in place. So it was an interesting experience, and it's a huge task. Anybody in that position, I know that is not easy. So even the current National Women's Coordinator, I'm like, and I know the work is not easy, but then you need to soldier on, like I keep saying, you need to forge ahead and make sure that we go through it. So it was an eye-opener, and it's not something I ever regret. I think I was grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, it's very good experience. I've been there before, so I know what you're talking about.
I know, right? We had that conversation.
yeah. So, I just want to ask you about women representation in your party and the institution of your party, like the Congress.
Khadija, quick one. I think people want to join in Zoom. People want to join on Zoom. Can they be let in?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Some people? Okay.
Yeah, a couple of people want to join in, so I think they have to be let in.
Let me
Sorry, viewers.
Okay, we will do it now, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Shall I continue, or do you want
to? Yeah, no, go on, continue.
Yeah. My question was about the representation of women in your party, like all the institutions of your party, like Congress, National Council, Political Bureau. Did you achieve parity yet or not? Or what's your gender equality policy in the party, like in the manifesto, like in general, really?
Oh. From the onset of the formation of the party, gender parity has always been the focus. But and so what we were advised to do by the leadership then was to make sure that at every level of the party, the executive body had women in there. So from the polling station level to the constituency level, regional level, national level, we're to make sure that there were women in there. What we have not been able to achieve parity, but it's not because we are not interested. Now, what's the challenges? On the ground, we realize that, and I'm sure we'll have that conversation as we're going along. As much as you can find some women who they get excited with the political process, to be members of a political party, they stay back a bit. And if you're not a member of a political party, then you cannot be an executive of a political party. And so it was like, those were the challenges. But the party has always been interested in gender mainstream or parity. From the formation, we've always had our running mates as women. In 2012, the running mate was a woman. 2016, the running mate was a woman. And so the focus on women has always been there. Yeah, you understand? Like it's always been just ensure that there are women involved. Let's encourage them. You know, anything that we will do to push them. And it's difficult because of sometimes the involvement of them, but then yeah, we are on it. Hopefully, we'll get a percentage that we so deserve.
You don't have any percentage in mind, so it's just in general, you don't have a percentage?
When we started, we had a policy of 20% minimum, which I remember on some platforms,
30?
20%, 20.
Okay.
And I know why you are saying 30 because globally it's 30. I know, right? Yeah. But then you see, that's the reality, because even with the 30, I don't know, in Ghana, it's been difficult, you understand? The 20 was even challenging, like I said. So, and if we're able to achieve 20 even, then we know that, okay, we can get there. But even the 20 has been a bit hard. And it's not because, like I said, we don't want to, or we are not interested, but it's because of the difficulties sometimes in getting women involved in the political process.
So I mean, because you had the position of National Women Coordinating, heading the party's women wing, so did you take any steps internally to advocate for this raise of women representation to reach gender equality, or not even gender equality, just to raise the women representation?
Oh yes, we did. For the national, we didn't have an issue. So, but then at the regional and level and constituency, sometimes when they are not finding the women, they just go like, oh, okay, the women are not showing up. So you need to, like, we tell them, look, encourage them. Sometimes they, some women will want to get involved, but they think that, oh, it's I'm not allowed over here. It's a difficult terrain, so they must encourage them. So for that kind of advocacy, we kept going. We had to encourage, because some of the women thought, oh, it had to be only the women's organizer position that the women must take. So we needed to conscientize them that, look, as a woman, you can go for the secretary, you can position, you can go for chairperson, you can go for you get. So yes, I did. But I didn't have a challenge because the men were actually ready to support.
At least something really positive.
Yes, indeed.
You currently are now the second National Vice Chairperson. You just been elected last week for second mandate. So congratulations for this great achievement.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I want to ask you, like, did you have many allies and supporters within the party, like males or just female, or what the proportion really for your supporters? I just want to know, you know.
I actually had supporters. I had both male and female. In fact, there were people, you know, there were times that you are playing with, okay, should I still go and contest or not? And some of the people who had urged me on were actually some of the men in the party. And so I would say I had allies. I had some of the women who were saying, well, even when you entertain the idea that, oh, I don't want to contest for a position, they're like, oh, no, you need to be part of the process. Let's go in together. You understand? So there's always been part of us and supporting people, urging you on and assuring you. One of the things that was comforting was, I remember when some of them assured me that, you know what, we are in this together and we will carry each other along. And it was really comforting. So, because, you know, it gets tougher as you are going along. Yeah. So as much as you've done it before, as we keep trying to grow the party, it gets tougher. And so it was actually, you know, comforting to hear that they are doing something like that. In terms of what the VC position entails, so the national committee, normally what you do is, as a vice chairperson, you are supporting the national chairperson and the overview administration of the party. And so that's really what with the day-to-day activities, or, you know, those are that we support in general. However, in recent times, we are zoning the country into 3 zones. There are 3 vice chairpersons. And so each vice chairperson is supposed to pick a zone. And you're supposed to support the zone with everything else in terms of direction, advice, operations, anything that you have to do to make sure the party is well-grounded. You are expected to do it. But also as a woman, I have the extra responsibility of making sure that the gender issues are well responded to. And so I liaise with the National Women's Coordinator and her executives a lot to make sure that our programs, our activities are well coordinated, that we're able to get more women on board to encourage them. And so really, that's really what my role is, apart from what the zonal, there's the addition of the women agenda that we need to push. So that's what
All right. So you had really like a plan, an action plan, like pushing for gender equality before you vote. Like that's people how they supported you and stuff. Like more women, yeah.
Yes. So what happens is, like, the party, like I said, from the formation of the party, we've always had a bigger plan, and then we draw activities in accordance to it. The plan is good. Our gender mainstreaming plan is very good, and so we are still sticking to it and making sure that gradually we get, it gets implemented fully. And so that is really what some of the things which is ongoing.
I know that your party is a member of Liberal International and as well the African Liberal Network. Both this organization calls and promote gender equality in all fields like political, social, economic, etc. So I'm sure that it must be also a catalyst to encourage and pressurize your party to align and work toward implementation of these liberal values and principles. Don't you think so?
Yes, indeed. The Progressive People's Party, which is the PPP, identifies with the values of liberalism. You're talking equality, you're talking equal access to education, equal access to health, access to jobs, gender equality. So we've always associated ourselves with liberalism. And so from almost every policy, we ensure that almost all our policies propagate these things, or make sure that they embody these principles. And so, like, for instance, education, we talk of free, compulsory, universal basic education. To say education is like the key to development is overstating it. It's been said so many times, we all know. And we all know the issues when it comes to Africa and Ghana, when it comes to education at the basic level. And so one of the things that we've been talking about is the FQ, to make sure that every child goes to school. Now, we believe that in that process, as much as you're looking at education holistically, what you also do is then you are solving your gender issues over there. So no child will be left behind. And if no child is left behind, then no girl child is left behind. You understand? And also, once you make sure that your courses, the principles you are teaching these kids is to embody gender mainstreaming, then you know that you are going through the process. And so we've always made sure that all our policies, from the idea to set up a women development fund, access to healthcare. We know healthcare, as much as it's for everybody, it normally lies on the doorsteps of the woman. And so once it's accessible and it's affordable, then you know that you are achieving some of the goals that we believe that once you get women involved, you are going to achieve. And so every policy of ours is make sure that it's embodied these principles, and we're getting through. And so we keep going on. We keep going on.
Yeah, I know. As you said, education is the key factor for the development of every country. Really, is the basic thing really for development of new generation and everything. So yeah, so I want to talk to you now about like women in parliament in Ghana. So I know that Ghana is ranking in 145th, I think, place in the world classification according to the Inter-Parliamentary Union for women representation in parliament. So today you have only 36 women out of 275 seats, equivalent to about 13.1%. So it was just a small really rise from 2012. Like before it was 30 women, which is equivalent to 10.9%. So it's a really a minimal rise. So and Ghana still lags well behind about 24 African countries with 20% of women or well more in their parliament. So not to mention dozens of other countries with more women MPs. Like I'll give you some example, like Rwanda, 61.3% of women in parliament. Namibia, 46.2% in parliament. South Africa, 42.7%. And like Senegal, 41.8%. And the list is long, So I just wanted to shed some light to tell us what challenges are hindering women participation in politics in Ghana, really.
The issues have always remained, as we've been saying for a couple of years back. There are the cultural limitations, the religious limitations, and then there are also resources. Politics is becoming very, very expensive. Okay, And even for an internal primaries election, you tend to spend a lot. And, you know, every time you do your analysis, you realize that the men against women in terms of who has resources, the men always have resources more than the women. And so sometimes as much as the playing field may seem neutral, you're already alienated in the process. But you see, so those are some of the challenges that have been ongoing. The structures of the political parties themselves, you understand, to make sure that there's no quota system for most parties. So it's always like, oh, it's a neutral playing field. Go over there and go and fight your cause and make sure that you win. But then you start taking some of the things that you need, and you realize that they're already alienating you. But you see, the issue to it is because we vote on party issues. I mean, on party platforms. So, for instance, there were a number of women who contested, who didn't win in 2016 and even in 2012. But because, let's say, there's something like a stronghold. So because the stronghold is not their party, then they don't get elected. So the voting is not really based on gender, it's based on the party. So if the parties, the parties need to embrace this quota system if we want to see women over there. Because as it stands now, we do a simple first past the post in Ghana when it comes to parliamentary. And so it's important that you get the parties to accept that, look, we need to put in measures to make sure there are women over there who will come and who will contest. Either than that, you will have a situation where, you know, almost every time you have to go and struggle your way through and it may not go well for you. So you do have lots of women contesting, but they're on other platforms, like the PPP. We had a good number of women contesting, you understand? But if they are contesting in maybe the constituency, which is not the PPP stronghold, and obviously you're not going to win, it becomes a challenge. And so those are some of the things that there's a challenge of the religious limitations, the cultural limitations, the inadequate resources available, and also the fact that we like to look at party platforms and not the gender issue, if I should put it that way.
Okay, so just to summarize for our audience, like there are different explanations for the very low percentage of women in Ghana Parliament. So the impact of gender-based inequality, resistance from traditional leaders, the failure of government to obey the international commitments, also the harsh nature of Ghanaian electoral politics, and political parties' overall unwillingness to facilitate the effective participation of women. So more fundamentally tough, Ghana has a plurality majority, as you explained. This electoral system in which individuals stand for office in single-member constituencies is considered much less women-friendly than the proportional representation electoral system found in other countries, like most European and many African countries, in which voters vote for political parties and they list of candidates rather than for individual candidates like you have. So the parliamentary election is won by simple majority, yeah? Is that the case?
Yeah. Yes.
And it is predicted by, I think it's called Dowager law or something like that.
Yeah.
And the voting system has encouraged Ghanaian politics into two-party system, creating extreme difficulty for anybody attempting to achieve electoral success and any banner other than those of the two dominant parties. That your party was created to fight them, really.
So, I know, right? That's a huge task.
So in addition, Ghana has no electoral gender quota. I was so surprised that there was no quota, despite that Ghana had quota briefly in the early 1960s. So all over Africa and other parts of the world, there is electoral gender quotas, which help dramatically to boost women's representation in parliament. So my question here, as the political ecosystem in Ghana doesn't favor the woman full participation in politics, and why until now there is no gender quota like many countries in Africa and the world? I mean, what could you do to push policymakers or to change the constitution or change the electoral law or something like that to fight to have a quota for women?
Yes, indeed, Khadija. It's true. The last time we had an affirmative action bill, which was really implemented, was in the 60s. Well, because of our political upheavals, it's been lost in the process. The Fourth Republic has been, we've had, you see, we have ratified many conventions. We have ratified the CEDAW Convention, Beijing Platform for Action, and the SDGs. But when it comes to, but internally, we don't have an affirmative action bill. Now, what's happened is there's a draft bill. There's a draft bill which has gone through so many processes and it's gone through so many stages. There's been reviews upon reviews upon reviews, contributions from various stakeholders, political parties, civil society organizations, almost everybody that can that is considered as a relevant stakeholder to make contributions to what's gone through it. I know that the last I checked, in recent times, it's gone through the Attorney General's office. They've made inputs. It's been sent to cabinet. It went back to the CSOs. They made inputs and it went back. But in terms of passing the bill, that has not been done. But as women groups, we you know, you can't just give up. You have to keep fighting and making sure that that really gets done. And so there's a draft bill, but it has not. So we put something on paper, something that we thought we could address some of these challenges. And we believe that once it's passed, then, you know, we'll become like the Rwandas and the Namibias and all those other countries. But we have a bill that has not been passed yet. So we are going to keep fighting on.
Yeah, you should actually. As you know, you could, like, I don't know if we're working with other parties, Women Caucus or Women's Wing, and with civil society to put really pressure and advocate for this. So I think you should really never give up on this, because it's the only way at the moment as a discriminative advantage to boost women representation in the parliament. If you wait and you keep waiting, it's never going to be given to you guys. I mean, you have to fight for it badly. So, you know, but the other thing is really that is going on is one of the main obstacles facing women integrating politics is violence against women in politics. So either as a voter, as an election campaigner, or as a candidate, or even as a practitioner inside their political parties, in parliament, in public arenas, and in society in general. So could you please share your view on this with us, especially this phenomena is present not just in Africa, but all around the world. It's a global challenge and threatens women's safety and security, and even their families' safety and security and freedom to exercise one of her fundamental political rights. So can you speak to us on this, please?
Yeah, sure. You know, I think in general, the issue of violence in politics must be seriously paid attention to. Apart from it serving as a deterrence to women, it eventually becomes dangerous to men as well. Okay, because at the end of the day, it is a society as a whole that loses out on the good leads which the women could bring on board. So really, the issue of violence must be paid attention to, because you know, you can't have a situation where something which can easily be prevented, you know, can just deter somebody from getting involved, or, you know, just it comes off as a put off that you don't want to look. The moment I go over there, this is what's going to happen. And so sometimes you are forced to put on a certain coat, like a thick skin, if you're a woman, to go through it. And we don't want to encourage that kind of attitude. And so as for violence, you can't do nothing less than keep, you know, denouncing it and making sure that advocacy goes on and goes to make sure that, look, the right things are done, because it has not helped anybody. If you check around Africa and even globally, every time it has not helped anybody. At the end of the day, some people get hurt physically, because the society, I keep saying, tends to lose out at the end of the day. And so it's not only to women, because sometimes when it goes to men and it escalates, it then comes to even the women who were not involved and the children, because they're always vulnerable within the community. And so we need to keep the advocacy on to make sure that, look, this and tell people it's not necessary. We can actually work together as against each other and make sure that, you know, we just go through it. So as for violence, it's one unfortunate thing that we need to keep talking about it to ensure that it doesn't happen. I remember during one of the sessions, I interacted with a lady from Somalia, and she was telling me her problem is there's some areas within the constituency that she cannot go there to campaign. that's all it's like, if you're a woman, come and you will see. So even if there are supporters there, you understand me? So she doesn't even go there to campaign, and she needs votes over there to get into the process. But because of that, things like that, the community itself must be agitated enough to say, look, we can't accept these things and protect the interests of the women. And so for me, I think it's constant advocacy and the trust that the security agencies will do their job, that they will not be biased towards the men, that whatever happens, regardless of who you are, they are going to deal with perpetrators. I think once there's trust in the security agencies and there's constant advocacy, I mean, there will be some progress. There'll be much progress.
Yeah, but I don't know why women, it's just it's violence is towards women, like, gender-based violence against women in politics, like either direct abuse or online discrimination, harassment, assault. So, because of their political participation. I mean, I think the only way that this will diminish is by reporting it, by not staying silent, because in our countries, like either Muslim countries or either African countries, we have this culture of massive silence, that we are frightened to report something, and then we'll be treated badly after, and we fear for the life of our kids, our family, and the stereotypes and the reputation and all that, and we keep quiet, which is really, really wrong, because we are letting the others to redo the same thing with other women and repeat it, and then insulting and doing all that, like it can really damage your life, and it's psychological abuse, and all terms of abuse. So I mean, the only way, really, the way I see it, and other women in politics, I've been as well, I suffered from that, like like harassment, or this, or like like assault, or online assault, like in social media and stuff. But we have to really have our voice heard, and work together, to diminish this practice or this phenomena. And I will take advantage on this of our talk today to urge all women suffering or have suffered from violence, discrimination, or harassment or assault, directly or online, because of their political participation, to report each incident. I know that NDI has worked, NDI, the National Democratic Institute, has worked closely with the UN Special Rapporteurs on violence against women and girls to establish a report form that allows for the safe and secure reporting of incidents of violence against politically active women. So the form is available in many languages. This information will be passed by NDI to the Office of the UN Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women and Girls, so that it can be used to raise awareness and build the case for more global action. Because if we keep quiet, we're gonna be if I today I will step out, next day you step out, and next day another sister will step out, and then who's gonna be there? I mean, where's the woman? All the women will step out, and we leave it only. I mean, we should really work together with men to fight this phenomenon, because it's not general from all men, but some of them do have this like in their culture or their education, and they belittle women and stuff. So we really have to fight this. I don't know if you came to some sort of violence while you were like running the election, like you were coordinating the campaign for the running mate of the party. So did you feel at all that you were
To be fair, in terms of violence, we didn't experience it. But you experience subtle abuse. You get it? Like, if you're a woman, even with the media, sometimes some of the questions they will ask, questions that they will not even ask the men, but they will ask some questions. They will ask about your domestic situation. Are you married? Don't you think that how are you managing family life? Do you understand? So it's always like it comes over. You have to pay attention, or you have to be aware of the issues. Then okay, no, this is a bit abusive, because you will never ask a man these questions. You understand? And it's always like, well, don't you think that it should be this? Don't you think that as women, and that question, that what I don't like when they start with, as a woman, do you think wrong is wrong? So go straight to the point. About, don't say as a woman as if it has to be different for women and different for men.
I never say as a man.
you know, as I hardly would I say, as a man, you know, they were just gonna, as a woman, don't you think ABC? Don't think A? And so those were the, you know, subtle abuses. But then we in terms of violence, we didn't experience it, but for subtle abuses, yes. And you know, every time we could deal with it, we made sure that we handled it properly. And
Yeah.
and then
It's the
where
role
we
of the media
could
to
walk
change it.
away, come
Don't you
again?
think it's the role of the media to change it? They have to put forward role models and women that are successful in politics and stuff, to talk about them more, and to change the stereotype of society about women in politics. Because sometimes women in politics is looked at as degraded because they are sharing, she's sharing, you know, because for some societies politics is corruption, is bad things, bad, you know, whatever it is. So but it's just not true. So it's the role of the media to change this mindset and really change the stereotype about women, and not to link always women with birth, with babies, with nappies, and with the, you know, working in the kitchen, you know.
You know, those are the questions you ask. Oh, how are you managing? Oh, wow. Then, so sometimes what happens is it pushes you, the woman, to start acting within social construct of who a man is. You understand? Well, I don't say the word manly, but for lack of, it's like the social construct of how a man should behave. It pushes you in there for you to behave that way to fit within the space. And you know, you always have to like over-explain yourself. Oh, I can do this. I'm able to manage. No, 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 it's not. And yet, you see, when it comes to when it benefits, when the domestic issues to become beneficial, then they water it down. That is not important. But when they think that it should serve as an inhibition, then that one they want to highlight it. And so you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
those are some of the things. But you would deal with it as you're going, and as the advocacy keeps going on. Hopefully, you know, it's we will get there. Or we have to
yeah.
get
Eventually, we have to work hard, really.
there. We have to get there.
Yeah, and all women has to have their, you know, has to talk about it and have, they need to have their voices heard, really,
Yes.
fight about all this. So, and the other thing I wanted to talk about with you is in Ghana there are few women engaged in governance. Again, I will ask a similar question: is this due to discrimination and non-equal opportunities between men and women, as you talked about culture, religion, and so on? Or is it due to their lack of experience and capacity building for more self-confidence in order for society to trust them with leadership and decision-making position? Or women are not prepared to engage in a field dominated by men because of conflict, violence, etc. And as you said as well, money, lack of funds, financial funds, and
Mm-hmm.
other things. Could
Yeah,
you shed some light?
I think with the outline some of what you which is similar to the views that I hold myself. What there must be like a two-way thing. There must be like a demand and availability, so that if we need to let the society or the community know that this should be a need, yeah, a necessity. And you know, the moment that collectively we agree that this is a necessity, now what happens is it creates an environment, an enabling environment for the women to come and contest. So regardless of resources, regardless of what happens is you would tune yourself to make sure that the inhibitions or the limitations are, you know, are dealt with. Because once you agree that it's a need, then you must find a solution to it within the community. And once the solution is coming, if it means that you need to change your ways, then you will change your ways. And so it works both ways. Like we have said, because of the challenges that the women go through, and they don't put themselves, you don't have enough. Because in Ghana, for instance, when you come to the lower level, in terms of the assembly, it's an abysmal of less than 10% women in there, which is like really serious. It's less than 10%. And so, and those are it's at the base, you understand? So, but once the moment the community agrees that, you know, this is a need, we need a woman to do this, we need a woman to, then what they do is they themselves will start encouraging women. You know, they'll come and pull you, or you know, no matter the challenges come, we will support you. And so there must be like a demand, and then availability, there are enough women. You know, there are many women who can do it. And so the demand, we must consciousness ourselves that there must be a need and a demand. And then collectively, yeah, we can actually respond to that demand and make sure that things is available, the resources are available, and the women will show up. So I believe when that is done, we should, it should help us. It should
Yeah.
help us.
Oh, Belinda, I know that you have participated in the first edition of the Women Leadership Program by the African Liberal Network, ALN. So that has taken place last year in Addis, I think. So, what are the key takeaways from this program? I want you to, like, will it help you in your political journey as a laureate of this program? Would you recommend it to other African women seeking leadership position within their political parties or their countries and communities? I wanted to tell us the good points, the advantages, so other women could apply for it to really enhance their capacities and their competencies in politics. I know that you learned and so many takeaways from there. So I wanted to share with us that, please.
Okay, the program is very interesting. What's happening is I'm actually in the process. I'm taking part in the 2021. So we had our first session in Kenya in March, just before coronavirus took over the world, and so we should have been in Morocco in June. But yeah, we're supposed to come to Morocco in June, but then everything has moved online, just like any other thing across the world, and so that's really what is happening. But so far, I would say the modules have been very interesting. It's taking you through a whole journey. You understand, in terms of even as a woman, how to come up with the campaign messages, the kind of alliances to build, how to position yourself in a way that the community will pay attention to you, how to project yourself as a good leader or as a needed leader. And so the modules, I'll say, so far, they're very interesting. And in fact, when you look at what is left to go through, I would say it's very good. But even, Khadija, beyond that, for me, it's a networking. We have women from Kenya, women from Burkina Faso, from Somalia, from Ethiopia, Zambia, UK, South Africa, Benin. So there's this collection of women who have come together to go through this process. And so we have built a network. When I was contesting, but in our recent election, you should have seen the well wishes from these women. You understand? Some of them did videos, some sent messages, and we are with you, Belinda. We are in this fight together. And yes, it's always like encouraging. So can you imagine? I mean, I keep saying, can you imagine if because of this network, and we are all in our various countries, and we are pushing this agenda, the women's agenda, and we are successful. Can you imagine what will happen with years to come? And so for me, the Women Leadership Program by the African Liberal Network, I'll say it was a well thought out program, and it was a good program. And anybody who can get opportunity to take part in it, you should take part in it. There's nothing like too much learning. You understand? There's nothing like I know this. There's always new things that you have to learn, and there's nothing like you can always have the opportunity to learn best practices from various countries. And so it's important that you take advantage of the process to make sure that everything goes on. I mean, I like this. It's really good. We are not done yet. We are still...
I've been watching you in Facebook, so I've been like following all the details.
I know, right? I know, but it's been good. When we went to Kenya, we went to two of the constituencies. So we went to one of the strongholds of the ODM. ODM is a member party. If I went to one was like was a swing place for the ODM. And so, one was rural, one was urban, trying to learn what they have gone through. They also have some form of like a quota system in Kenya at some of their district level or so. And so best practices, trying to know that, okay, this has worked for this person, this hasn't worked for this person. What you can take away. It was, the networking was solid. It was good.
It's great to do networking. It's great to share each other's experience. It's great to bring up whatever you learn and share it with your community and your fellow women members of your political party, which is really good. Yeah, so it's good. Well, now I will talk to you about another topic. So I know that the population in Ghana is about 27.58 million people, and women represent about 49.33, about 50% in 2015, according to the World Bank. So women political participation and representation is key for gender equality, as we all say. In Ghana, women participation at all levels of political, social, and economic life is low. However, women are far better in Ghana in the other two branches of government, where they are appointed rather than elected to cabinet or the court. I mean, I got confused when I've seen that. When I read about it, I thought, oh my God, how come? The proportion of women in a ministerial level position in Ghana was reported at 25% in 2018, according to the World Bank. So why is that? Do you think it's? I mean, it's confusing. I mean, you don't have many in parliament, and you have many appointed. Why? I mean, if a woman is competent, a woman, like she has
You,
all the ingredients as a man to take responsibility and to be in a decision making position. Why just appointed, not elected? I mean, now we can say that, like diagnostic of people don't trust women, like women don't trust to vote for women. We have that all around the world. I mean, it's a problem all around the world. And it's a problem of trust. Sometimes some communities, they trust men more than women because they think that he's more capable, he's gonna reply to all their needs. Whereas women know she's not like that because of cultural or religious beliefs and all that. So, how do you explain this?
you had said that too. So what happens is, in Ghana, per constitution, a percentage of the ministers must come from parliament. So you see, that's where the problem also comes in. But the moment you take it to parliament and there are not enough women in parliament, then obviously there's a shortage over there. And so when you enter parliament, you are already, you don't have enough women to cover up the space. Now, when you come to the appointment part, the men are struggling with the women. I mean, there's nothing like, we don't have affirmative action. And so there's nothing like, oh, I'm telling you, no, the president will not even attempt to say, I'm going to make sure all the appointees are women over there. There will be an uproar. They're not going to have it. And so those are some of the challenges. But then also, you see, we do a winner takes all in Ghana. So the positions and everything comes from within the party. We don't do proportional like other countries. It's almost like 98% of the time they come from the party. And so if you don't have people within the party, so there are many women who are qualified, but if they are not within the party structures, then they don't get, they don't get called to be part of the process. And so those are some of the challenges. It's the structures that we have.
You mean the structure, or be near to have a good relationship with the leader of the
Actually,
party?
both. You understand? I mean, it's both. Because even with sometimes, if you are good with the leader must be very firm. Because some party person can say, when we were campaigning and winning the elections and going through, where was Berlinda Bulley? Why is she coming to be part of us? No, we have won the election. It must come to, the opportunity must come to us. And so those are some of the challenges that go. Is the fact that you don't have enough women in parliament within the parties that can be appointed. And then also when it comes to the appointment outside the parliament, you can't, there's no, so you can't just say women, it will be fought through. And so the affirmative action is really important, you understand? Because then it forces you, you are mandated to go beyond even your party, to meet the quota system, to go and bring people based on their credentials, based on their capabilities, regardless of party, regardless of their background, to make sure that they get the job done. So really, those are some of the things that I'll say.
So in general, what can you say about the situation of gender equality in Ghana? I mean, including, we talked about the political side, but we can, I mean, all other fields, what steps are taken as advancement toward gender equality? I mean, in general, like economically, socially, I mean, I don't know.
So I think
by all the stakeholders to close the gender equality gap.
I think in general, like I said earlier, there's the affirmative action bill, which has gone through various stages, but is yet to be passed. You understand? And so to get that done, I think that is key. We need to get that done to make sure that we have a lot more women. Without the affirmative action bill, you see, that's how come Ghana is lacking behind. Ghana is, when you come to Africa, we are good in other areas, but when it comes to women, inclusion of women, you realize that we are lacking behind. And it's because of the lack of an affirmative action bill. That is necessary. You understand me? And you know, I always like to tell the men that, look, what we are saying is not it's not like a battle among the sexes. We are not saying men versus women or men against women. You understand me? We are simply talking of partnership. That, you know what, it's important that we come together, that we hold hands, that we support each other to move together to make sure that which we all desire, which is proper development, which is access to good water, which, you know, the basics are able to be attained. And so it's important that we look at it as a national agenda and not just a women's agenda. To be fair, there are some men who are well aware. In fact, they are so knowledgeable in the gender issue, in the gender mainstreaming. You know, the what needs to be done, what they know, and so I give it to them. They have always been supportive, even trying to push other political parties do this and do that. But for the rest in general, I think as a country, there are even some women who don't understand it, who don't understand the gender, you know, they don't understand the gender issues. And so we need to let people know that, we let ourselves know that, look, this is necessary, this is a need, this is an agenda. There's nothing like a fight. It's a partnership, a needed partnership. And then we move on together. And once we have that, affirmative action goes through and will help us break barriers of making sure that we work only based on political party affiliation. And once we get that through, you know, we are going to achieve the increments of participation of women that everybody that we get.
Constitution, I didn't find anywhere equality. I just found gender, and I've looked at some acts, and I found you have Domestic Violence Act in 2007. You had Human Trafficking Act 2005, Matrimonial Causes Act 1971, Law Against FGM and harmful cultural practices, injuries to the health of women and girls, but there is no, so it's, as you said, you need affirmative act bill to change all that, hopefully. So that's what leads me to another question. I mean, I don't know if civil society and NGOs are strong enough in your country, in Ghana, that play an influencing role to impact policymakers for this act or for more reforms towards gender equality. I mean, because I know in Morocco they are really, really strong. You know, they do a lot of lobbying and stuff, and I don't know what is the case in Ghana.
It actually is. The charge has been led by civil society organizations. To be fair, the whole pushing for affirmative action. So we have civil societies who work together. They have something like Abantu for Development. They have WODA. We have the IEA, the Institute for Economic Affairs. We have Women in Development. There are a number of them that work together and then invite other stakeholders from, like, so when I was National Women's Coordinator like this, the IEA set up a team of which I was a member of. It involved reps from political parties and some heads of civil society organizations for us to make contributions on some of the reviews. And then what happened was we presented a communique to the Minister of Gender and Children and Social Protection at that time. After that, after my tenure, I know that the National Women's Coordinator after me has been also involved in similar things. So it has been an agenda by the civil society organizations that they make sure that they involve the political parties and make sure they involve state institutions. So the ministry in charge of women affairs is always involved in it. And, you know, even like I said, Attorney General has gone through and also advised on the bill and all those. So it's actually charged by the civil society organization. We have very strong organizations over here.
That's great. That's great. Now we're going to be talking a bit about the women economic empowerment. So I just want to share some statistics with our viewers or our audience. So nearly 70% of Ghanaian women participate in the economy, a rate higher than many developed countries. And women are present in nearly every sector and in a range of roles, like from cooks, police officers, CEOs, etc. So conversely, women also represent a significant portion of Ghanaian living in poverty and are disproportionately at risk from the negative impact that can accompany business operation and economic growth. So own account workers, or we call them as well self-employed, percentage of female employment in Ghana was reported at 65% in 2020, according to the World Bank collection of development indicators. The women are present in every sector. Also in Ghana, women constitute about 90% of the labor force in the informal economy. So, according to Ghana Statistical Service of 2013, women tend to be concentrated more in the informal employment. So, supporting them is a key pathway to reducing women poverty and gender inequality. So, I have some questions for you in that topic. So, are there any existing programs by government or international organizations or local or regional council or offices or NGOs to elevate these women? It's like programs for women economic empowerment in order to get them out of from the informal to the formal sector. For example, like trainings, capacity building, mentoring, like new legal forms or fiscality waiving, something on that.
Indeed, the technology elevation. I look at it from two angles. Okay, there's the I know that some organizations offer like training, like bookkeeping, you understand, management skills, and so some of the soft skills for some of these women in the informal sector. Our economy is strongly held by the informal sector. And so it's important that we support them. So that goes on over there. I also know of some ActionAid, for instance, organizes training for women involved in small scale farming. And so what they do is, apart from even teaching them of some of the techniques, they create market for them. So like, they'll put them together, women who are cooking, planting rice, they create a market for them to sell their rice. And so those are the things that, and once they're learning best practices, then it's like you're formalizing them. But you see, to get them to formalize them also will probably also mean that putting them within a certain tax bracket. Okay, we normally call them informal because they are not taxed, they are not within the net, and so you can't really pinpoint or measure in accuracy what is happening over there, although we know it's like the base of our economy. And so once we are able to do that, once we're able to formalize their group, and then we capture them within the tax net, then I think that will mean we are formalize them anyway. So then they can also enjoy the benefits that comes with being taxed and all those. You can have access to some of the benefits when it comes to paying taxes within the country. And so once you're able to do that, that can be formalized. But in terms of putting them, pushing them into a certain, where we perceive as formalized, like as in where the education comes into play, there are women, we don't have like, how do I say, we don't have a gender disparity too much when it comes to working within the formal structure, within the corporate world. And so once you go to school and you're able to secure the job, then as a woman or as a young lady, you're captured within it. But for the informal sector, I believe that the training and everything going on over there is opportunities are well enough. And then by necessity, we should be able to put them within the certain net that can help us measure their activities. And then, once you're taxing them, then you know that, okay, they are paying this much tax. We need to change this law. We need to do this. You understand me? Something that will be beneficial to them. In recent times, actually, we've had a number of them going for their tax identification numbers because it's going to be tied with so many things. And so once you're able to get that and you put them within that system, then really I'll say that you have formalized them enough. So, I look at it both ways when it comes to formalizing the women within the informal structure.
Yeah. And in Ghana, does the private sector play any role in advancing women economic empowerment and like ensuring that women benefit more fully from economic growth in sub-Saharan Africa? It's like CSR, like corporate social responsibility, like giving back to community, like, I don't know, buying products from these women who work informally, it's like bio products or something like that, just an example.
Oh, yes, we do. We do actually. In Ghana, we always say the private sector is the engine of growth. And so you find many private institutions, contributing to that quota. We have a number of them who make sure that the women have access, they develop products to make sure that women have access to loans, to help in their businesses, to savings products, loans to make sure that their businesses grow steadily. There's also some insurance company. There's one company called GN Life Insurance, which has developed a micro level insurance company for the women within the informal sector. You know that the insurance company has been over the years trying to grow within the country. And as usual, if you have a large number of people within the informal sector, you must pay attention to it. So companies like GN Life are doing that. In fact, when I was at GN Bank, the projects I was talking to, those were some of the support that we were given to make sure that we give them formal banking services, for them to ensure enjoy benefits, huge interest savings. And in fact, some of the savings product that GM Bank had came with a life insurance policy. And so you find women who hitherto would not have even, thought of life insurance. But then they come and they have the products, savings products, and then they get to enjoy the insurance policy. Then there's also some private companies offering pension services. So there's a company called Pentras. Pentras is developed a product which they call She Retires. And, the name itself is very catchy. I always like that name every time I hear it. So I've been following the company a lot. They developed a product for women. And you can do personal contributions. You can come from your company, any amount at all, and it's towards your contribution. And so what is helping is people who were not within that sector, they are not within corporate settings, are able to contribute towards their retirement. When you're in the informal sector, it's something that you can miss out on, your pensions, because there's not but that product, the She Retires service has been very good, and they've been contributing. And so those are the things, some of the things that some companies are doing, private sector are doing very well to make sure that the women are well protected, and any benefits at all that they can get to enjoy, they enjoy. So I'll say yes, the private sector has been doing their bit.
That's great. That's great to hear. Like, like now with the COVID-19, I mean, all our lives are, impacted all around the world. Like, I know that women from lower income households, like in Ghana or any other countries, face a range of systematic barriers, including entrenched poverty, poor access to housing, finance, and health services, and deep-rooted social norms that dictate which type of jobs are acceptable for women, and that place a heavier share of domestic responsibilities on women. So, and especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, the situation has worsened. So I don't know how Ghana government, also political parties and other stakeholders are working together to prevent the pandemic from spreading. And also, what are the measures taken? Like, what are the political decisions, and what sanitary, hygiene, and financial help they have given to vulnerable families during this pandemic? Because I know every country has made some different measures than other countries. So I don't know what is the situation in Ghana.
Oh, in Ghana, Khadija, it's just like the pandemic really affected livelihoods. I mean, it affected so many activities, and people within the informal sector suffered a lot. I remember I went to the market before our lockdown in March, and a woman was expressing worry that she had heard there was going to be a lockdown, and her challenge was, if she doesn't sell for a day, she's unable to feed her family. And as much as the markets were not locking down meant that many people were not coming to the market. As much as they say you could go and buy food, but people were generally not going out. And she was selling perishable goods. So, those were some of her concerns. And so it really, it affected the people in the informal sector. There were actually some donations, some organizations, some churches, some civil society groups donated to people who were heavily affected. So we have like headquarters in Ghana. If you're not going to the market, then obviously they don't get anybody to carry their stuff for, so then they don't get paid. And so there were programs to donate some items, to such some food items to those people. So we had a couple of people, just going out of their way to make sure that they feed the needy and those who were heavily affected. Although all of us were, some of them were heavily affected. But you see, it was a necessary thing that we did, because what was food to a dead person? Health is always important, safety is always important, and so we had to go through the process. But as a country, we are not under lockdown anymore. Our numbers have been they're rising, but they are low as compared to globally. Our death rates for us is worrying. It's 185 or something. It's really worrying for us. Although I know if you compare it globally, some will say, oh, those are like very low figures. But for us, it's really worrying. But apart from either than that, we are not gathering together in large numbers. There's a ban on that. Recently it was lifted so that churches could open, and then you have to make sure that you're practicing social distancing. And the WHO protocols are being followed through. We're washing our hands, washing our hands all over the place.
Yeah,
And
all the time.
I know, right? Using hand sanitizers and wearing of masks. There's actually a law on wearing of mask. Now, if you don't wear your mask, you could be fined or you could be sent to jail. In terms of implementation, I don't know how it's working, but at least there's a law. Many shops do not allow you to enter if you're not wearing a mask. And you are expected to wash your hands before you enter the shops. And so some places it hasn't been impressive that I've gone to, but other than that, we are trying and hoping that we go through this. So it's the new normal. So perhaps we'll get used to washing our hands like 20 times a day and wearing masks. Sometimes you can't even recognize people when you see them. But like I keep saying, it's better to be safe.
Yeah, it's true. And does your borders are open yet, or like
no, we haven't opened our borders yet. We haven't opened our borders yet. Yes, we have some of our nationals coming into the country though, but they normally come is arranged. They come on a chartered flight, and they are expected to go through quarantine.
All right. Okay.
For mandatory quarantine for like 14 days. So those are, but it's not open. We're not open yet. We are not there yet.
All right. So, I mean, I think it's you do. I mean, all the countries having the same problem, so it's a global thing. So I hope that we're gonna get through it, and all the families will be safe. But now I will talk a bit. I mean, before carrying to talk about gender equality, I will bring up for a little while the bilateral relationship between Ghana and Morocco and the partnership. As this occasion arises today, as I am Moroccan, you are Ghanaian, so I thought to touch on it a bit. So I just want to share with our viewers, I mean, the relationship between Ghana and Morocco. Morocco and Ghana desire to promote their bilateral relations which offer broad and promising development prospects. So the partnership between the two countries has experienced a new dynamic thanks to sectoral diversification policies initiated. I think, I don't know if my connection is right. Yeah, it's still on. So, yeah, because I thought I had a message here that the connection is good. So this sectoral diversification policy is initiated by Morocco and Ghana in recent years, and the signing of more than 20 cooperation agreements in many sectors during His Majesty King Mohammed's 6th visit in Ghana in February 2017. So these agreements have facilitated a multi-sectoral partnership which has already started to be fruitful. So according to the president of Morocco-Ghana Parliamentary Association, I don't know if you know him or not, Mr. Abbas Ridwan Douda, a member of the Ghanaian parliament, he said Accra must take advantage of the Moroccan experience in the agriculture field, especially that the Ghanaian government is better on, the Ghanaian government is betting on agriculture through the program Plant for Food and Employment. Also, the Secretary General of the Ghanaian Commission for International Trade, Mr. Frank Agiukom, called to further strengthen collaboration between the two countries to touch vital sectors, in particular agriculture, tourism, fishing, and solar energy. So the two governments of Ghana and Morocco are committed to expanding and deepening bilateral trade, he said. So calling on businessmen and women to seize this opportunity through win-win partnership. So in this context, the OCP group and the Ghanaian Ministry of Food and Agriculture sealed last September, two strategic cooperation agreements aimed at optimizing the fertilizer value chain of Ghanaian agriculture. So this Moroccan world leader in phosphate products called OCP want to set up in Ghana a plant for the production of fertilizers adapted to the needs of the soil in 2024. So based on raw materials from Morocco and Ghana, namely phosphate and gas, with a capacity production of 1 million tons. Also, there is another Moroccan real estate group called Doha has expressed its will to launch real estate projects in Ghana, in particular social and medium standing housing. So, so I don't know how do you, what can you say about this? Or your party's view on this? I mean, about this partnership in general. So, just in
Oh,
short time.
I think in addition to the African Continental Free Trade Agreement or the Area Agreement, which about 55 countries have signed in Ghana, in Africa. There are, like you said, there are over 24 other agreements that Morocco and Ghana have signed together. And it's long overdue that the agenda that Africa must trade with Africa. You understand me? Because to develop our economies, then definitely nobody's going to do it for us. We have tried other agreements, and it has not been very beneficial to us. And so we need to look at each other. I know that the Foreign Ministry of Ghana, I think somewhere last year, had also reiterated the formation of the partnership between Morocco and Ghana. In fact, I think I remember she had said something like they were going to consider even some scholarship programs for some Ghanaians to come over to Morocco to come and study, to undergo training, to make sure they learn best practice and come and implement over there. And one of the key things that they also say is how to connect the private sector of Morocco and the private sector of Ghana. Indeed, if once the agreements are what we are terming a win-win agreement, then obviously it's going to go a long way to help both countries. And so as an individual and as a member of the Progressive People's Party, we have always pushed that you need to develop our own, you understand me? And whilst you're looking within your country to make sure that you grow what you eat, you do anything to support the industry, it's always necessary to partner others who are a bit advanced in what you are lacking, and also exchange your ideas over there to make sure that you collaborate well for the outcome to be positive. And so as a party, we have always supported such initiatives, you understand me? We hope that, and in fact, one of the things that to me drew my attention, which I liked, was the vocational aspect, because he had mentioned the vocational education aspect of Morocco and how we can benefit from it. And in Ghana, after the basic, the primary level, it's not everybody that gets to the university level. It's not everybody that gets to, and so it's important that your vocational aspect is well resourced, and they are like well trained and well equipped. And so for me, when I saw that, I got interested. I said, okay, now that's something that is really good, so that you learn the best and make sure that what you are going to do in your country is good. So it's a partnership that, as PPP, we always embrace. We hope that it gets implemented well, that we hope that we commit ourselves as countries towards it to make sure that this agreement really tends to benefit all of us. And it's a fair trade. You understand what I mean? Like, and in addition, as we are, what I was telling someone, as we are partnering Morocco and learning the best practices, then our women too, and their women are partnering and see how they can help each other grow economically and politically, and you understand. And so we need to position ourselves well to make sure that as citizens, we take advantage of some of these opportunities and make sure that we are open to everything positive that will come out of it. So the Morocco and Ghana relationship is something that, my relationship with you is good. And so I want to trust and believe that it's something that we are both committed to, you understand me? That we go through the education system and then the training. Agriculture is like, for instance, is the foundation of our, it's one of the, it's, how do we say it? We have to feed on it, we have to live off it, you understand? And so if Morocco can help produce fertilizer and we can learn from them and do same, or even, trade with them and exchange goods and services, then
it's a win-win.
Exactly. It's always going to be a win-win situation for us. And so it's something that I think, in addition to our pushing of our women agenda, we must push our governments to make sure that
the agenda of Africa 2063, we should do that too.
exactly. It should be part of our agenda to make sure that it's successful.
Oh, great. So, Belinda, last but not least, so what is your aspiration for the years to come? Like, how do you want to see Ghana rising in terms of rights and the equality, justice, equity, integrity, and also I have this question is for you. Is there any chance for your party to win next election? I don't know. I think will you be candidate in the next election?
Okay, so let's go to at least what I'm hoping for. You know, I can't wait to see a lot more women. And to be precise, I actually want to see a lot more younger women, you understand, involved in politics. They not to say that I'm against the older women, but you understand, Ghana itself is a young generation. So I want to see a lot more women involved in it. I don't like, they sit on the fence too much and they pass commentary, and you understand me. So I think that once we get involved, it will be good for us. I can't wait to see that. The affirmative action bill must be passed. It's gone through reviews upon reviews upon reviews. It needs to be passed soon. I want to see the implementation of the free compulsory universal basic education in Ghana. Every child must go to school. Every child must go to school. It's something which is like, I don't know. It's dear to me that you can't have an uneducated citizen. We must go through the process, no matter what it is.
Left behind.
You know, okay, and then the conversation should change. I mean, by now we should be talking about, oh, Belinda, now you have 40% of women. So what are you going to do now? Now you want to know if the party will win elections. Well, we keep doing something great in the country. And so all I'll say is keep watching out for the Progressive People's Party. We are relentless in what our agenda. And I have no doubt that you keep talking about us and we'll be marveled at whatever we achieve. And whether I'll be a candidate, we'll have that conversation later.
I will make sure that you will be. You have support of a big women network, really, all around the world.
Yeah, it will be part of the Morocco-Ghana bilateral relationship agreement.
ANSD will support you as well, you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, I mean, Belinda, it was a great talk with you. You know, I enjoyed it so much, and it was wonderful having you with us. I would like to thank you again and thank our audience for being with us. It's been actually 1 hour and a half of talk.
I know, right?
So I wish you all a nice evening, and I wish you a really great time. And
thank you so much for having me, Khadija. It was good. It was good.
And I hope you're going to be following us and following our future talks on Africa Shining.
Definitely.
And take care. And until our next talk, bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Take care. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.